Do you want to travel to Batu? Visit TwinSubbleTravelSun.com. Planning a trip to Walt Disney World can be overwhelming. That's why you need the expert planning services of Casey Lucas at TravelSuns.com. TwinSouthTravelSuns.com. Casey will help you plan your perfect trip. He'll help you find the right resort, fast pass, dining reservations, and even look at typical crowd levels to ensure the best vacation possible. And the best part is services are complimentary with your travel package. Visit TwinSunsTravel.com today to book your vacation and enter promo code War of Stars in the comments to receive a free gift with your booking.
You are listening to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast presented by Realm of the Mist Entertainment with your host, John Tolley.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. Coming to you, as always, from deep within the Outer Rim, far beyond the watchful eyes of the Galactic Empire. My name is John Mark Tolley. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Ray Rumsey. Ray, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Battling a little cold, but nothing I can't handle. How you doing, everyone in audio land?
All right. And also joining us again is Mr. Joe Cahill.
Cahill. Yeah, it's hard. It's just like
Cahill.
the John Wayne movie. And thanks for introducing me. And against popular belief, I am not your father.
Well, I don't know. I'm adopted, so you never know.
No.
Okay, I don't think that would be possible. I don't know how old you are, but I don't think you're old enough to be my dad.
I don't know. I'm 54.
You'd have been about 10.
Okay, woo, good.
I'm 42. I'm 42, almost 43. So,
And none of us are going to claim Ray.
Dodge the phaser on that one.
Wrong universe.
So let's talk Star Wars. What's up?
Yeah. Not that we don't enjoy, our travel to the Star Trek world every once in a while, but no, this time we are not traveling there. We are traveling to the galaxy far, far away.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
For a
All
most
right.
prestigious occasion.
Oh. What occasion is that?
Well, if memory serves correctly, this would be our big 5-0.
Oh! Our golden episode anniversary thing. Yes, 50 episodes. Wow.
Wow,
Yeah, I
you
definitely
guys
got
brought me on board. I'm honored for that. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
50 episodes. 3 years ago, I started this little journey into the galaxy far, far away, and it's taken a while, but things are finally starting to pick up. And in fact, if you heard a little bit earlier, or maybe even a little bit before that, I don't know when they're going to put it in, but something I have wanted to say for a long time is we have a sponsor. Twin Suns Travel is going to be sponsoring us at War of the Stars, and we are proud to have them on as a sponsor, and that is just something that is just so cool to me. It's been almost 3 years, little under 3 years now, and to say that we now have a sponsor is, I can't put into words how awesome that is.
That hit you at the feels.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a nice milestone.
Yeah. And big things coming too for not only War of the Stars but all of Realm of the Mist. Because this sponsor is not just for us; it is for everyone at Realm of the Mist, all the shows, and really benefits everyone here. And like I said, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning for War of the Stars and for Realm of the Mist.
Well, hey, Mark, if somebody else wanted to sponsor us or Realm of the Mist, who would they need to get in touch with?
You can get a hold of either me, directly at, you can get hold of me through my Facebook at Mark Tolley, or you can email us directly at realmofthemistentertainment@gmail.com. That's all one word, realmofthemistentertainment@gmail.com. And either myself or Chris will get a hold of you, and we'll go from there. And we'll get all your contact information and get you set up. So, yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so, yeah, like I said, big things coming, and we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the show. What about you guys? Any Star Wars news you guys got for us today?
Yeah, remember my question at the end of our last episode for you guys that I left you guys to ponder and think about really hard.
I have slept since then.
About Kerry Russell's character for the next movie.
Oh.
Kind of a red-haired dark Jedi type, who she might be.
Hmm.
And then Rey, a week later, comes on and sends me a nice little advertising online. Somebody has already jumped on that real quick and has said the whole Mara Jade idea.
Yes. That is interesting. Yeah. I haven't got a chance to watch it yet, but I even saw that Star Wars Theory has a little video about Mara Jade, and it looked like it was kind of hinting at her coming into the main canon.
Right. Well, we still don't know Rey's parentage.
This is true. If she has parents, that is. I mean,
well, she should have a mother.
Yeah, at least.
If we're going to go to the Anakin, she should have a mother.
Unless she was raised in an incubator.
Oh, you know what? That had never even crossed my mind.
Unless she was raised in an incubator. That she was taken and a seed. Yeah, so, yeah. And we don't know
the DNA from Luke's hand.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the chance that she was a clone.
Well, the most recent thing I have seen on my lovely Google was I only read the headline, and it kind of cracked me up, but it basically said that Mark Hamill says this is the last time he's going to play Luke. And
No kidding.
I kind of said, well, yeah. You think?
Well, yeah.
It's ending the Skywalker storyline.
Yeah. I always get a kick out of me because I've heard that before, and all these people saying, "See, he's proven he doesn't like the new direction of the film." Like, I just want to do the Captain Picard facepalm then.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh. Yes. Guess what? It's everyone in this whole series' last Star Wars film. It's the end of the saga. They're all in. Yeah, it's just.
Yep.
There may be mention or something later on in name, but it's never going to be them back in that storyline.
Speaking of that, there's been a little bit of controversy, or I don't know if you call it controversy, but hullabaloo, that they are indefinitely, at least for the time being, pushing back the Rian Johnson trilogy. It's not been totally put off the table yet. They're still, from what I heard, they're still planning on making it, but they're pushing it back, and there's no set date as to when it will start filming, or even pre-production would start, or even if there's a script for it. So, what are your guys' thoughts? Do you think this is just something that they're like, let's just wait till the dust settles from this trilogy and give it a little time to rest before we start moving into a whole different trilogy?
Absolutely. I think that's what they're doing.
Because they still have the Benioff and Weiss trilogy. coming along, and then of course you have the Mandalorian, and the Obi-Wan TV series coming. So those are like three big things that are coming up, and there's still, whatever your thoughts are on Last Jedi, there still is a bit of a bitter taste among some Star Wars fans over Rian Johnson and his take on The Last Jedi. So, it could just be that they're just letting this, everything kind of die down and everything kind of, maybe get enough time for people to forget. Not necessarily forget Last Jedi, but just kind of have that out of their mind, and then
hope The Rise of Skywalker repairs the damage and then they can go on.
Yeah, and I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that giving Rian Johnson free reign with his own trilogy, where he's not necessarily hampered by what had come before, do you think that would help him? Do you think actually do a good job where he's not like, okay, this is the parameters that you have to work with, and this is what came before, where it's like, okay, your gloves are off, just keep it within the Star Wars universe per se, but other than that, you have no limits, because we know Rian Johnson can be a good director. I mean, Looper was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so we know, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. They're giving him a trilogy. They're saying go for it. Keep it within, acceptable bounds, but just go for it. And with it being set kind of whenever he wants, but ending the Skyline or the Skywalker timeline kind of thing, he could really do whatever he wants. He could come up with all kinds of new force powers and...
Well, and he doesn't even have to... I mean, here's the other thing is he doesn't even have to have the force in it. I mean, the Star Wars galaxy is vast, and there are areas of it that we haven't even touched yet.
True.
So he could have it in a completely different part of the galaxy where the Empire and the Republic have never been.
Yeah, rumors at best, kind of a thing.
Yeah, he could have it in the unknown regions. He could have it in, any place, and at any, like you said, at any time, and where there may not be the Jedi or the Sith or anything like that. You can still necessarily have the Force, because I think that is something you have to have.
You have to have something to tie you to the universe.
You have to have something to tie you to the universe.
Yeah. I think he should do something with the Yuzong Vong.
I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the Vong. I liked him at first, but
they got silly.
They got silly. To me, they almost became the Star Wars version of the Borg, in the fact that they became unbeatable.
Right.
And that's kind of what the Borg. I mean, not to cross streams again, but in Star Trek, I loved the Borg, but they got to the point that they almost became the unbeatable villain. You never really defeated them. You just stopped them for a little bit.
Right.
There was anything where they were like, and that's kind of what the Vong became. They became almost too powerful. And the only way you can defeat an enemy that's too powerful is become more powerful yourself, and then it just becomes a power struggle. Yeah. Right. So, True. And the books just went on for too long.
Yeah. That was the problem with that whole series.
That was the problem. I mean, the series before that, the books before that had always been written in
trilogy. 1, 2, or 3 books, and
4 at the most. I think with the Jedi Academy books, there was like 4. There's like 4, maybe 5 books,
and they came close to too many.
Yeah, and even even the X-wings, I think They did 3, then they did another book in between that. Then they came back and did like a 4th with the
Right.
X-wing books. But the Vong just went on. The Vong storyline just went on for way too long. And I mean, I liked the concept originally of this ultra religious group that hated technology so much that, and I think in a way you could do something like that, especially with the world climate today, with the radicals and different religious factions even today, that the Vong could really resonate with a lot of people, but also be a little controversial because, I mean, if you look at them, they were very reminiscent of a lot of religious extremists in the world today. Very, very in that sense, but
I'd like to see them head somewhere with Thrawn.
yes.
What did he do for all of those years out there in the unknown regions?
Right.
Because
that
he
would
was
be
not
fun.
with his own people. He had the reserve fleet. What did he do?
Yeah.
Did he expand the empire in the emperor's name, but never told them where the emperor was located? Or there's so much you could go with on that.
What about what's his name that went with him?
Oh,
Yeah.
from the five Baron Fell?
No. From Rebels. The Jedi that went with him. The kid.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Rebels. Come on, Ray, jump in here.
Ezra.
Go get her, Ray. Come on.
It was Ezra.
Yeah, there you go.
Ezra Miller. He was the one that actually sent him and the fleet out into the unknown regions. Because at the end of Rebels, he basically uses space whales, these space-faring animals that use hyperspace to travel, to hijack the fleet and send it into the unknown regions. So he's been out there with Thrawn this whole time too. So you have a lost Jedi that's out there in the unknown regions and a lost Imperial Grand Admiral.
With a fleet. Never a good combination.
Which kind of makes you wonder, though, how did they keep the fleet under repair with being so far away?
Well, you usually have service ships with a task force. And repair ships. Yeah. And nowadays, even our Navy, thank you, love you, baby. We have, with the new stuff coming online, these 3D printers and everything else, and the machine shops on board the ships to repair ourselves and make a lot of parts ourselves.
So you're a ex-Navy guy, I take it?
Yeah, retired lieutenant.
Retired. Chris is our CEO. Chris is an ex-Navy too. He's was a submariner.
Oh, I'm sorry for that. he was in a target. He was in a target, a bubblehead. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, when you tell him I was a destroyer guy, he's going to go, "Oh, a target," because that's how all submariners refer to the surface fleet.
Oh.
And I was the most wanted person of them because I was on destroyers, which kept them away from the bigger ships.
Yeah.
Okay, that could be fun. I'm gonna have to next. I think our next after hours, that's going to have to come up.
Oh, I'll have to be there for that one. I wasn't in the service, but my dad was in the Army, and
I'm sorry,
my nephew is an MP right now on leave.
That's awesome. Thank you for your service to your nephew.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, he's gets out this year. He'll be out this time next year.
He doesn't want to do career?
No, he wants to go into law enforcement.
Okay.
So yeah, he's out in Colorado right now.
A lot of us did that too.
Fort Carson.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Is a lot of guys go right into the law enforcement.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
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 It's a good way to get your training.
Back to Star Wars.
Back to Star Wars. So we will go right. That was it for our little news segment right now, and we'll go right into the main topic. Now, the Sith have been the main antagonist of the Star Wars universe pretty much since the beginning, although they were not officially named in canon in the movies until the prequels. The Sith have had their fingers in everything in the Star Wars universe for thousands of years and have really been influential in almost every major decision in the Star Wars universe. From Darth Bane to Darth Nihilus to Darth Revan to, of course, Darth Vader and Darth Sidious. The Sith are the ultimate villains in the Ultimate franchise. So, the Sith, would you consider them, the greatest villain group in sci-fi history?
Ooh. Ow, tough one. They're definitely in the top 3.
Yeah.
Whether they're my number 1, boy, I'd have to really put more thought into that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ray?
I definitely think that they were one of the most formidable forces based just off of their cunning that I'd ever seen in a long time. Most villains are pretty forthright. You think back to all the villains of movies of old, and they're pretty forthright. You can figure out who it is right away because they kind of announce it. But with the Sith,
the patience.
Patience is a virtue, and I think they're also. And it was interesting because I was just watching a video about this, and one of the classic villain tropes is the idea of announcing your grand plan before you put it into practice. And the Sith usually oftentimes will pull an Ozymandias and already have set their plan in motion long before they announce it to what their eventual evil scheme is.
Oh, right. Yes. Right. Palpatine declared the first Galactic Empire. That's when he was declaring his evil scheme.
Yeah. As it's already in place, it's not like I've got you now. I will announce my evil plan to you.
No, it was all I kicked your ass and here I am.
Yeah.
Right.
Well. Yeah. So
last minute Order 66.
Exactly.
Still, they didn't see it coming.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, and we've talked about this before. Is the Jedi knew of Order 66? If you watch the Clone Wars, the 6th season of the Clone Wars, they learn about Order 66. Yeah. And he's still able to convince them that it's a good thing.
Right. But only by justifying it that there was another order that said if he got out of line, they could use the
Order
clones
65.
against him.
Yeah.
What was that order? Did you forget to tell us?
Right. But by saying that the order that would be against him is 65 and that the order against the Jedi was 66, that kind of almost sets this as misinformed as it is, it's this little idea that, oh, look, I have created these orders in a particular line. They go in a particular order, and you being able to stop me takes higher precedence than me trying to stop you. Like, look what such a good leader I am.
Yeah.
And they fell for it, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah. It was a good thing for Palpatine that he didn't have a brain fart and forget the order number and say, execute Order 65. Wait,
right.
What?
No, 66. I meant 66.
No, 60.
I think he had it written on his hand, so when he was talking on the little communicator.
Yeah. Yeah, holding his hand up, so yes. Oh, wow. Well, you said Ray, you said you had something that you had written down that you wanted to discuss concerning the Sith.
Well, I was just, kind of going back to the last episode. I had posted it to you guys via Facebook there. For anybody that's listening, the person that I was talking about that became a Dark Lord of the Sith through quote-unquote Force Ghosts was Darth Vectivus was the name I was looking for. But as far as, doing research and stuff, I was just brushing up on how the Sith were formed and all that good stuff. I didn't scribble down anything particularly like, oh, I have to talk about that. I mean, we all kind of know that they were once Jedi themselves. And, throughout Star Wars history, that was kind of a recurring theme since the beginning, is that more often than not, it was Jedi becoming Sith.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes into the rigors of being a Jedi almost.
Mm-hmm.
And how tough it is, and one of the things that I think could lure a Force user or a Jedi to the Sith was the ease, in many ways, that it seemed like they got their power.
Oh yeah.
And that was, even Yoda said it, it's like, is the Sith more, when Luke said, is the dark side more powerful? And he said, no, it's easier. But easier isn't always the best way.
Right. Well, when you think about it, that's really true with any kind of thing that you might do today. You can do anything realistically. You can train anything the easy way, and you can train it the hard way. And when you look at the two types of people, the ones that train it the hard way, yeah, it might take them longer, but they're typically better at it because they have a lot more practice.
Yeah.
Right. A lot more.
Right. Whereas when it comes easy, you probably spent half the time learning whatever the hard worker learned, so you could probably pull it off, but it's not going to be great. That's kind of how I viewed it.
Yeah.
But I think as far as, kind of talking about the Sith themselves, there have been a number of really powerful Sith, but I think the one, in my humble opinion, the one who really kind of shone as far as cunning, maliciousness, ability to get away with things, if you will, and trick all the other Sith. I mean, how powerful do you have to be to trick all the other Sith? Would be Darth Bane.
Well, yeah, I mean, the institutor of the rule of two. I mean,
right.
I think there are very few, when you look at the Sith, there are very few that, and we will go into some of the other Sith, but yeah, I mean, he basically created the Sith that we know today.
Right.
With the master and the apprentice, and one to hold the power, one to crave it. Mm-hmm. Is what he was, the term he coined.
Right.
And that assured that the Sith would always grow in power, because you always knew that the apprentice would eventually supplant the master because he would be more powerful, and then he would pick an apprentice, and that apprentice would eventually overthrow him to become more powerful, and the cycle would go on and go on and go on.
Right, and the master has to keep learning as well to stay ahead of his apprentice as long as he can.
Yeah.
I think to an extent that kind of was always, not necessarily to that extreme, but I think that was kind of always the way of the Sith. But the problem was with the old way, there was no governing their numbers. So they were all trying to ruin each other's plans just to get that upper edge.
Yeah, there was no
working against each other more than
working with. At
least the two will work together for a long time before the supplanting attack happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and to be able to take such a large sect of people that all believed in backstabbing and killing each other off and say, no, I think there only needs to be two of us, and having all of them be like, yeah, you're right. And you know what I mean? I think that took probably far more cunning, and I think Palpatine might have taken a page from Bane's book.
Mm-hmm. Well, and to convince your apprentice that he cannot defeat you. I think Palpatine got that because Vader didn't want to try alone.
Right.
Together we can defeat my master.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you have seen the Vader movie, the Vader short film, Shards of the Past.
No, I'll have to go look that up.
It's really, really good. It's done by Star Wars Theory. He's a YouTuber who does Star Wars theory videos, and he spent something like over $100,000 of his own money. He even got permission from Lucasfilm to do it, and they're filming the sequel right now. But in the movie, it starts out with Vader having a dream where he's fighting Palpatine. And he's trying to kill Palpatine. And when he comes out of it, he's summoned, and Palpatine can feel the anger coming off of him. And he says, "You're hiding something from me. I feel the anger, but you're hiding something from me. What is it?" And he realizes, oh, I see. And he's like, "Okay, kill me. Strike me down. Give in to your anger. That's the only way you're going to become more powerful." And Vader can't do it. Mm-hmm. And he scolds him, says, "That's why you fail. That is why you'll never be as powerful as me, because you can't do the one thing that will make you more powerful, which is kill me."
That's awesome.
But it's really, really good. It's just it's like a short little 15-minute film, and it really goes into Vader's psyche and even a little bit of the Emperor's psyche and their relationship, and how it's very much a one-sided relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And because Vader despises Palpatine,
right?
But at the same time, it's very much this father figure relationship between the two of them, where he kind of sees, and I think we talked about this last week, where he kind of sees Palpatine as a father figure.
Right. Yeah, I do. I believe that's true. Even when Palpatine kind of revealed himself as the Emperor and all that, I think that he really did. It's kind of like, oh well, I know my dad is a bad guy, but he's still my dad.
Yeah.
I think it's that kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's You talk crap about your mom all the time, and then somebody else says something, and you're like, "Hey, that's still my mom, dude."
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't do that. I adore my mother, by the way, but
right.
And I still have her 54, with me being 54, which is fantastic.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
I think a huge part of it too that we really didn't get to see in the movies, because let's face it, you only have a limited amount of time within a movie to kind of convey your point. And so you touch on the big things. But I really believe that there was a lot of little situations that we didn't see. That Palpatine just kind of got in Anakin's head. I mean, they expanded on it in the Clone Wars, but I think there was even more than that.
Absolutely. It had to be. I mean, but you can't go touch every little part of the movie. You're right.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why a lot of times the book can't be made into a movie.
Yeah, yeah,
The
too
book just gives
much
you the
detail.
information
Mm-hmm.
and details that you can't do in a film.
What were
yeah,
you saying there,
definitely.
Mark?
Oh, I was going to say, I wanted to go over really quick the Sith code and kind of see how it uh, differentiates from the Jedi code. And I think that's a good way to kind of see the difference between the two. So the Sith code is peace is a lie. There's only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The Force shall set me free. And the Jedi code is, of course.
Bum, bum,
Dun, 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 I have to look it up.
We
There
should
is
have
no
known that.
Yeah, I know. There is no emotion, there is peace. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. There is no passion, there is serenity. There is no chaos, there is harmony. There is no death, there is the Force. So I think you can really get a good sense of like the different mindsets and the different philosophy of both of these groups right here, just in that.
Mm-hmm.
That the the Jedi are all about peace and serenity and
Service.
service, whereas the Jedi are all about emotion and power and
Freedom. As they look at it,
which-
freedom.
Yeah, but it's so ironic that they're for freedom, but yet they are more than willing to enslave people to get that freedom.
Yeah, for their own freedom.
Or their own personal freedom. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the Jedi in a way really almost again to kind of cross streams, at least the way they were originally supposed to be, epitomize the Star Trek value of the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can see that.
The Sith are just the opposite. Our needs are more important than everyone else's needs.
Yeah, I can see that
Yeah.
without a problem.
Yeah.
Ray,
Yes.
you want to bump in there?
I've got both of the codes pulled up side by side, and I'm actually reading through both of them. And I'm just kind of taking it all in and listening to you guys, and I definitely agree with you. Kind of hearkening back to what we were talking about a little bit ago about just how different the two schools of thought are. Like the Jedi are definitely introverted. We must look within ourselves and seek knowledge, and whereas the Sith are the extroverts, and they're all about rule. We must be powerful, and we must show power, and through power I gain victory. Like that right there, that was kind of their shtick for a while.
Yeah.
Was just to beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is something that I've thought about before, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Is, do you have to be evil to be a Sith? Is that
No.
a prerequisite?
No. I don't
Okay,
think so.
What about you? What do you think? Do you think it's a prerequisite to be Okay, let me change that. Do you have to be a dark side user to be a Sith?
Ooh.
Now the question gets complicated.
That was easy the first time. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
honestly, if I'm really thinking about it, I would say no. Because you can encapsulate the values of a Sith by I mean, except for the whole through my victory, my chains are broken. The Force shall set me free. Everything else before that could kind of apply to anything, from a smuggler to a politician. I mean, that could kind of apply to anybody. But as far as, I mean, if you're gonna go dictionary definition of the Sith, then you'd kind of have to use the dark side.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think there's no, and I mean, with using the dark side, I think it's a real slippery slope not to go down that quote unquote evil path when you start using the dark side.
Right.
Easier, faster, more seductive.
Right, exactly.
More seductive.
Yep.
And more and tends to be more violent and more me oriented.
Mm-hmm.
You know, more about what can I get, and you know, it's very easy to go down that path. And the fact that we've never seen a quote unquote good Sith.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think the closest we've gotten would be Revan.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you're talking about I mean, I guess that could go either way. Is it a good Sith or a bad Jedi? I mean...
Well, I mean, a Sith that does good. A Sith that is considered a good person, that does that, you know, still follows the Sith mantra and believes in this, you know, the Sith code, but is not quote unquote evil. That does not,
right.
You know.
Well, I mean, they weren't even called the Sith at first. I mean, that wasn't until they got to Korriban. But
yeah,
you know, like, I'm sitting here reading through the Jedi Code, and I'm like, yeah, you know, realistically, you could probably learn the dark side based off of the Jedi Code by just kind of having loose morals.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, it's talking about knowledge. Well, in order to gain a full breadth of knowledge, you'd have to learn both sides.
Yeah.
The whole part about no emotion, there's peace. I mean, it's the whole, you can't have light without dark. You can't have happy without sad, so on and so forth. I don't know. I'm probably overthinking
I look at that as, once a Jedi has become a Jedi Master, he learned through the good side of the Force. But once he's there, he knows the seductiveness of the dark side, and he could use it at will. You know, Luke uses it for a bit there on the Death Star.
Right.
Well, even if you go a little bit more into the history, Mace Windu used the dark side all the time.
Right.
His
philosophy was the ends justified.
Yes, the ends justified the means, and one of his Force powers was, if he was fighting someone that used the dark side, he was able to take that power and turn it back against the person he was fighting.
Oh yeah.
And that's what he was with his lightsaber style. That's one of the abilities that he used, was that, and you see it whenever he's fighting against Palpatine.
The scarring.
The scarring, whenever he's using it, he's basically using his lightsaber to reflect that dark side energy back at Palpatine.
Right. And then Yoda uses it, the same thing later. So you even see Yoda using that power.
Yeah.
Well, even going beyond that, like taking the whole, because everybody said that they make reference to it in the movie that Mace is one of the best with the lightsaber, and when I don't know if they ever kind of addressed it in the movie. I don't think it did. I think it was something I read after that. But anyway, that particular lightsaber style that he used, that we were just talking about, when he took off Jango's head, that was considered a no-no in the Jedi Order. But everybody was cool with it because of the situation. They just kind of like, the means justify the end.
Yeah.
He's a Jedi Master. He'll be fine.
Well, he even said himself in some of the books and the comics that when he was fighting, he had to skirt as close as he could to the dark side without going over.
Right.
That was part of his, the style, and he ironically used the same form that Maul used. He used a variation of that form.
Yeah.
That was his own.
Well, I could be way off, but didn't Kit Fisto also say that he dabbles with the dark side fighting in Clone Wars?
I have to watch it. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I can't remember if he said that or not. I remember somewhere along the line that Kit Fisto also, but he also used the beginner level. He only used beginner level lightsaber technique.
Yeah, he used Form 1.
Yeah.
That will be maybe something we want to touch on in a future episode, is the lightsaber styles.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
the seven forms.
That could be a fun one.
Yeah. So.
Which is funny to me because they talk about the 7 forms, and we see a lot of similarities, a lot of where Lucas pulled in his influences, like with the samurai and things like that, and like the whole 7 forms is kind of like the 7 pillars of wisdom kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to, speaking of lights, I think it's interesting that many of the more powerful Sith, and many times would eschew lightsabers. In the old canon, and I think also in the new canon, Palpatine himself hated using the lightsaber.
Right.
He thought that the Force should be a powerful enough weapon for you to use.
Mm-hmm.
And he only carried a lightsaber, in fact, to mock the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I don't recall him ever using it.
He only used it in Episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the only time that he used it, was Episode 3. And again, he only kept it as a way to almost mock the Jedi.
But then again, too, I mean, if you had Force lightning to the extent that he was able to use it, would you really use a lightsaber either? I mean, I'd be cool with just electrocuting people.
Zapping everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look, barbecue.
Yeah. Had a pretty good range on it, too. I mean...
Well, I think we talked earlier about most powerful Jedi or most powerful Sith, and I mean there's a really strong argument for putting Sidious at the top of that list. I mean, he did what the Sith had been aiming for millennia.
Oh yeah.
He saw the overthrow of the Jedi Order.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that from the time of Bane to then they had been working towards, and it was Palpatine, it was Sidious that happened under.
Right.
He saw in a sense the restoration of the Sith Empire.
Yeah.
So
he really did. And,
I mean,
it's hard to believe, but he took so long executing that plan, and we talked about this before when we did our show devoted to him, and if one little thing had gone wrong, the whole thing had been just done.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, one step in many directions, and that was the end of that plan.
Right.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So it kind of makes you think, he had to have had plans within plans within plans, like, up to like Plan F, like for everything.
Oh, he had plan Triple Z.
Right, like he just.
Yeah, he had plan all the way. Yeah.
He had the if this happens then this, if this happens instead then that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
yeah.
We've got about 12 minutes left on our show, it looks like. So I think it's about time that I ask my question to stump you two.
Okay.
Okay.
Or, if nothing else, create an interesting argument for a possible spin-off. If you're listening, Mr. Johnson. Cough, cough. So, the question here is, what kind of universe do you think we would have watched if Darth Bane had never enacted the rule of two? Let's just hypothesize for a second that all of those cats were able to work together rather than running around all crazy. For one, minuscule moment, they actually were able to work together to reach a common goal.
Well, the Jedi would be an army. If there's a republic, the Jedi would have to be an army to combat them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that even if they were able to work together for a short period of time, it would be a short period of time. And then the galaxy would just be ripped apart in the most vicious civil war between the Sith that would make the galactic civil war that we saw in the prime Star Wars universe look like a small brush fire.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you think it might have gone the other way, where the Jedi would have went into hiding?
Ooh, I like that.
Possibly.
And then they came back?
Well, I mean, we did see, in a way they did. In a way, the Jedi did go into hiding after Order 66, and the Jedi did return. It was the return of the Jedi.
This is true.
But I'm thinking in the way I almost see the Jedi adopting almost more Sith-like tactics in the hiding and that type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
They would have to be the ones doing the long-term plan.
Yeah.
Right. And as we've seen, they will justify it if the means,
Yeah.
I mean, Return of the Jedi, you're looking at, okay, we got to whack two guys.
Right.
For the Jedi to be able to rise again.
Yep.
In your scenario, it's dang, they got an army of these guys we got to take out somehow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Got to come up with our own Order 66 or something to get rid of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, in a sense, though, wouldn't it just have to be because of the way the Sith operate, wouldn't it be? I think the Jedi would almost take the tactic of just let them knock each other out,
playing them off against each other.
Just sit back and watch them.
I think they'd be involved in manipulating it.
Right. That's
their dark side.
Thinking, yeah.
Do some manipulation. Get them to take.
They would be. Yeah. Just wait until they're down to manageable numbers and then make your move.
Right. I think we might have the plot for a movie here.
There we
go.
I got a writer, and I'm from the hometown, so I should be working that. Hey, George, we have a new Star Wars mission that came right out of the same town.
There you go.
What?
That's awesome.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this week. And before we go into our usual spiel of where you can reach us at and everything like that, I just wanted to take this moment to say thank you to everyone. First of all, to a few people, this being our 50th episode. First and foremost to Chris. I've said it before, and it's not hyperbole when I say this show would not exist if it wasn't for Christopher Stolle. He's the one that, when I was kind of toying with the idea, offered me a spot on Realm of the Mist. And even when this show first started, I was doing this off of a phone. and had no way to record. I had no idea how to record, how to do anything like that. And Chris and some of the other guys at the time at Realm of the Mist helped me out with that, and they've continued to help me out. And to anyone and everyone who's ever been on Realm of the Mist, whether as a co-host or a panelist, just to name a few, Dr. Janice Liddell, and Alan Shea from Generation Tech. You guys were early, both have been supporters of us, especially Alan was a very early supporter, was on our second show, which was very cool to have him on. And just everyone else who's ever been on the show, and especially to fans, thank you so much, and hope that we get another 50 episodes in the bag, and hopefully this time the other 50 won't take another 3 years. So with that being said, you can find me at Mark Tolley on Facebook, on Twitter at John Mark Tolley 1, because I'm of course the number one John Mark Tolley on Twitter. Email, you can email the show at realmofthemistentertainment@gmail.com, and on Twitter at realmofthemistentertainment at Realm of the Mist Entertainment. Check out the Facebook page at War of the Stars and fans of Realm of the Mist. And other than that, Joe, where can they find you at?
Well, you know what? I want to say thanks to Chris as well. If he hadn't remembered almost 2.5 years ago that after doing an interview show together, we were both being interviewed by Dan Loria on a Star Trek show, and I said, boy, sound great. I'd love to work with you again. And about 2 months ago, I got the message saying, you want to play some D&D from Chris? And now I'm on War of the Stars, bringing another couple shows over. So, Chris, I really appreciate it. That's an awesome memory you have. Ray and I have really hit it off. I think Mark and I are doing good. So, you've got a good feeling for how to put personalities together. And you all can find me at Joe Cahill, director-producer on Facebook, or Steamhouse Entertainment on Facebook. Same thing, Steamhouse on Instagram, or at Coffee Steampunk over on Twitter.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Mr. Ray, where can they find you?
Well, since everybody else took a moment, I'm going to thank Chris as well. He put my show together much the same way this show came together, which is Chronicles of the Lost Realm, to which Joe alluded to. We play some D&D over there, so make sure to check it out. You can find me here on War of the Stars, and you can also check out Breaking the Fourth Wall. There's going to be some interviews coming up. I'm going to start doing some interviews with some celebrities put together, sent to me, and me sent to them by a gentleman named Steve Joyner. He's a pretty cool guy. Look him up on Facebook as well. But you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Chronicles of the Lost Realm, and you can also send me emails that way, same name, at gmail.com.
Awesome. Oh, and buy the t-shirts. T-shirts available.
Buy t-shirts.
Realm of the Mist Entertainment.com. Check it out. We have t-shirts made to order.
Yeah. And here comes the cheese. Comes the cheese for me. May the force be with you.
Oh, one last thing before we do our little sign-off. Everybody, please, there is special Patreon-only content. Go and sign up to be it's only $1 a month. I mean, if I had the Arms of the Angel to play right now, I would. Support our podcast. We need your help.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And also, not only Patreon. I know some people aren't necessarily on board with a lot of what stuff with Patreon, but if you aren't, also Anchor.com, where you can find all the shows at. They have a support tab. You can support us that way too. You can give us monetary support that way. Also,
just listening helps.
Just listening. if you're on Apple Podcasts, that 5-star review really does a lot and really helps move us up the rankings there. And the more people, the higher we are on that, the more potential listeners we get, and the more it just helps us out.
Right, and it's all cyclical.
So,
Everything you help us with comes back to you. It helps us create better content.
It does. It does. Definitely. And which is what we want. We want to put on the best Star Wars show on the internet.
Dun dun dun.
That's what that's our goal, is to be the best Star Wars show on the internet. So with that being said, thank you all for listening for 50 episodes. And remember, this isn't just my Star Wars. This isn't just your Star Wars. This is our Star Wars. Until next time, may the Force be with you.